Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this Super 7 Ultimate Figure review, we're going to be looking at Wreck-Gar. So in this video, we're going to have a look at him with all of his accessories. We're going to do some comparisons with him and the latest and first release of the figure. And as I've got a few other Super 7 Ultimate figures knocking around, we can look and see how he displays and compares to some of them as well. Right, so as I start to move all of these out of the way, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if I'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now, please, because it really will help me out. And there's also something I've got to confess, guys. With all my videos, I like to do sort of honest first impressions, which basically just means opens it up and have a look at it. But because of the issues that I've found with this particular figure, I've had to check TF Wiki, but we're going to come to that in a second, because you'll be quite surprised, to be honest, because some of the things that for some reason they've managed to do with this figure, I suppose the best word is they beg to believe. But again, we'll come to that in a second. But first and foremost, we definitely need to look at the packaging, because apart from the problems and the issues with the figure, the packaging is still beautiful. So we've got, again, the lovely orangey golden sheen, which of course is the colour of him. Now, for those of you who don't know, because this is a Super 7 figure, you can see there, these are licensed by Hasbro and Takara, so they can use the correct name and they can use the correct likenesses. That's why we've got the tech specs and, of course, his proper name there. He comes packaged inside that with a huge clamshell with an absolute abundance of accessories, which I'm just going to show to you right now. So let's just move this out of the way very quickly, because he comes in this huge, it's not like even a clamshell, it's like a huge plastic bubble. He comes in a robot mode in there with a few of the accessories, and then he comes with even more behind it. So we've got this brilliant little You Talk TV thing. I'm trying to see if I can get it to focus to work out exactly what it is. It just looks like maybe a National Geographic show. I don't know. Are they trees? I'm not sure. But whatever, that's a lovely little touch. We've got some more fists. We've got some other attachments. And, of course, we've got the Energon as well. What we've got here now, though, and this is where the problem... it's crazy, to be fair. Right, let me move this out of the way. What it is, it's his fists and his accessories. And what I mean by that is, of course, he comes with closed fists, which you can see there. He's got an abundance of fists. Now, first and foremost, a couple of health and safety things, and I'm not joking. These are incredibly sharp, really, really spiky. And I know this isn't aimed at kids, but I'm just pre-warning you guys. That's the same with all of the spikes. They're not rounded off. They're not rubber. And there's definitely no play in them. These really, really genuinely hurt. So if you want to change the fists, it's really quite difficult without hurting yourself. Now, the other funny thing, and this is why I'm telling you this, is he comes with this gun, which is a brilliant, brilliant homage. In fact, it's not a homage, it's just a bigger version of the Generation 1 original, again, because they're allowed to use exactly the same likenesses and indeed parts. Same with the wheels, and in fact, I'll come to that in a second, but none of the hands that he comes with. That's the biggest hand, as in open grip hand, and it doesn't fit in. Now, he can hold the magazine rack, but obviously that doesn't look too great. And then the rest of the hands, it's just trying to focus, which we got here, they're all sort of open, but he cannot hold any of his accessories properly. You can't forcefully, because of how strong and how stiff the plastic is, you can't put his accessories in his hands. And that, just to me, is just insane. I can't understand why they would do it. As I say, the big open hand, if you put any of the other things in, because obviously they just, as you can see, fall straight through, so they can't hold on to them. The other ones which are slightly there, you can just, in some cases, maybe balance. There's just nothing there, and I've tried vigorously, and as I say, that's why I've had to do things which I don't normally do. I've had to check TF Wiki just basically to see if I was doing something wrong, but it does actually say in the write-up there that this is, I suppose, a common issue. So I can't, again, show you him with his accessories purely because it doesn't allow me, which is very, very strange. But anyway, let's look at the figure, which is a shame, because look at that. That is a brilliant representation of what he looked like in the cartoon. Now, the head sculpt itself is very detailed. You can move it around a little bit. It's slightly restricted with this backpack here, and with, of course, well, the beard doesn't restrict it. It's just restricted because of the backpack. In honesty, the arms will come out. You can hear they're on ratchets. These will go, yep, that's just a bit stiff. It's perhaps not a ratchet, but it will go all the way around. It'll swivel at the bicep. It'll flex at the bicep. And as I said, you can, because there's loads of wrist articulation on here, you've got to apply a little bit of pressure, but you can take the hands off. But again, these are as sharp as you like, so be super, super careful when doing that. There's a genuine ab crunch, which is great. These will lift up to the sides, but it doesn't really affect the range of motion with the hip skirts. There's still a waist swivel all the way around, which is brilliant. There's no, or there is a sort of swivel. Yeah, there is. There's a swivel at the top of the thigh. That's quite new. I've not experienced that on most of the Super 7 figures. Knee will bend there, ankle, little tilt, and a little, yeah, full range of motion and articulation on the actual figure itself. Now you can, of course, let's make him look toon accurate. We can attach these wheels. Once again, very sharp, very, very sharp. So as you're attaching these to the points, please be careful. It's uncanny how sharp these are. As I say, it is a good job that this is an adult collectible, because there'd be so many complaints regarding this. What you can also do as well is, this is the original G1 toy, which again, great homage to. There is a G1 toy head, so you could pop his head off. I'm sure it's quite simple. Let's have a go anyway. I'm hoping it is. It should just be a case of a little bit of a force. He's saying these take so much. I keep this in as well, guys, if you're wondering, like, he's struggling or whatever, but you need, oh, there we go, I've just pulled his beard out. Thankfully, that is actually supposed to come out. Phew. I thought I broke that. Obviously not, but that's good to know. Do you know what? I just can't get his head off. I just can't. I don't want to perhaps maybe break it in any other way. I'm so thankful that as you can see, is supposed to come out. It does have a little tab, so that can go back in, no issues. But there you go. So he would look like that. This is obviously easily the worst out of these Super 7 figures that I've reviewed, for just a number of things. And some of these things, I used to work in factories, and I can't even believe that it's past QC to get out, or even be passed off as a product. Number one, A, because of how sharp they are. Number two, because his accessories, even though they are fantastic, they're basically defunct. You can't do anything with them because you don't have the hands or the maneuverability in the hands and the fingers, because of how stiff they are, to be able to do anything with them. Even with that fist, you know, I can try and I can apply a load of pressure, but it will not go in. I'm seriously forcing that in there on the risk of snapping it, which of course I don't really want to do. So that's just, again, it's a bit negative. This is, I know obviously this perhaps isn't supposed to be played with, shall we say. It is for display, but you can't really. There's no point having all the accessories, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say, if you can't use them. So there is G1 Original, there is Studio Series, and there, of course, is the Super 7 version. All look really good, and they've all got their own, as I say, special attributes to them. But let's bring in, because I imagine if you're going to be buying this guy, you're going to be wanting to see how he looks and displays with other Super 7 figures, which, again, he does look really good. And again, remember, all of these, they don't transform. That's why they've got such really good likenesses. But as I say, guys, I think unfortunately there's not much more to say about that. Bit of a disappointment for obvious reasons. However, let's look at positives first. He does look like he did look in the cartoon, and I suppose for display purposes he looks okay like that. Negatives, obviously, you can't use his accessories, so it would be great to pop all these in his hands and stuff. And it looks nigh on impossible, and I don't want to break or damage anything, because it looks like I've just slightly bent them a little bit trying to take his head off. So that doesn't sound right either, but there you go. Quick other couple of ideas for height to give you an idea of how big the figure is, because exactly that, I suppose, if you don't know how big these Super 7 figures are. That's a G1 cab, and that's an Earthrise cab, so that should give you an idea of how big he is. But again, unfortunately, not much more to say about this particular guy. Bit of a shame, in honesty, but there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Take care.